Jesus Christ. I look like shit. Oh my god. Anyways, enough of my self-deprecating vanity. That's not really vanity then, is it? What is the term for, is it just being self-deprecating? I guess so. Anyway, um, yeah. So I had a thought today when I was out walking around. Um, and that thought was, I think I would like to get a Nokia phone and just like replace it with my current phone, which is of course ironic considering the fact that I'm recording this video on a smartphone. So I obviously wouldn't be able to do that, you know. But I mean, I still have my computer. I'm not going to get rid of my computer. I'm not going to be a total, retro Luddite. Not total Luddite, but I guess like a 2000s Amish, 2000s, early 2000s Amish. Yeah, I'm not gonna like downgrade my computer to Windows 90, 98 or Windows, well, not 98, that's a bit too far back, Windows 2000 or something like that. But just, yeah, I don't know. I just really, today, I don't know what really triggered it, but when I was walking around, I walked around like a couple hours, just out in nature. It was fucking warm. Truth be told, it wasn't the most exciting experience. Just kind of like, oh, okay, walking out in nature. And there's some people that out there that get like really revitalized by walking out in nature and stuff like that. It's decompressing for me. It is definitely, like this whole trip has been, but it's also boring. I'm not gonna deny that. It's weird. It's kind of a mixed thing, but there is a value to that boredom, I think, and that's kind of, I think, maybe the reason why it's occurred to me that I want to get rid of my smartphone and just switch to a Nokia, like some fucking drug dealer or a hitman drug dealer. Yeah, like a guy who commits hits by drugging people to death. I don't know, or tainting their drugs. Yeah, a hitman drug dealer. So it's actually probably one of the smartest ways to be a hitman, I would say, is either taint somebody's drug supply or overdose them, and then use your Nokia phone as a burner phone. So, anyways, no, yeah. So, yeah, the reason I want to switch them is because I've just realized, like, I mean, this is obvious. A lot of people have talked about this, but I think it really hit me. Just how having a smartphone is definitely a net negative, I would say, in my existence. I think it's partially one of the reasons why like this walk today was kind of a mixed bag. How even though it was relaxing, like that's kind of how this whole thing has been. It's been this weird. This whole trip has all been very much like it's just it's interesting to me how, like, on the one hand I'm very much easing myself off by just doing so barely anything in these last few days. Like, it's nice, but that, like, there's also this just like emptiness, and thankfully not so much restlessness like there might maybe used to be, but just like I'm just so just like depleted and just like it's like not even just tiredness, it's also just like it's not even okay, that's the thing. Okay, maybe it's not even boredom, it's emptiness. That's the thing. And I think a lot of this emptiness might actually be because one, like, it's not just that I'm not distracting myself that I'm feeling empty. It's more that the distractions have kind of made me empty in some ways. Um, and it is also, I think, partially to do with just the fact that the world is in a pretty fucking weird state on top of that. But it's, so yeah, to just really get my point, because I feel like I'm rambling a lot, but, when it comes to a smartphone, I'm just kind of realized, like, it's sort of just a gateway to a lot of shitty contemporary stuff that's sort of fucking things up. It's not just you know having like it's not like having a cellular device is inherently a bad thing by any means. I think actually I mean, that's why I still would want a phone. I don't want to like abandon having a phone. I mean, you can't really get by in life without having any cell phone, especially since landlines aren't a thing anymore. But like, you know, call me a boomer, but I don't think technology really should have progressed all that much past the Nokia. To be honest, like having text messages is nice. Having like a very simple form of entertainment, good old Snake, that was nice. But then like once we started getting past that point, it's just like it started to go downhill, I think. Maybe even like the first generation of smartphone. Yeah, maybe it could be argument for that, but I don't know. I just feel like once we transitioned to smartphones in general, it just wasn't so good. Maybe like flip phones, nothing past flip phones. And that's the thing, it's because it's like, I mean, for starters, there is that thing that like, it's not just text messages anymore. Like, there's just constantly this fucking connectedness that just drives me crazy. Like, you don't even have email limited to just your computer anymore. Like, you get email notifications, you get, social media notifications, you get like just every fucking thing notification. I mean, that shit's just like obnoxious, and sure, you can mute that, but it's still always lingering there, you know? It's just like all the fucking apps too. It's like, oh my god. I'm really tired, so I'm kind of having a hard time articulating this. But okay, so let me just break it down point by point. So, social media, a lot of people rip on that shit. What is the primary means that we connect on social media? It is through our phones. Like, technically, you can do it on your computer too, but like, I think the sheer level of deviance that comes with social media is through the phone. I kind of realized, sort of made an analogy in my head as to what it is that's bad about the phone specifically and our connection to each other through social media and other shit like that. And it's kind of like there's nothing inherently wrong with, connecting to other people and shit through, modern communication channels. It's just the fact that it's that it's always there, always fucking there. And it's kind of it's the difference between having like a nice piece of chocolate cake after dinner versus like walking around with a fucking camel backpack full of like Nutella chocolate sauce and just having one of those fucking tubes. I don't know if you watching, if anybody's going to be watching this, knows what those camel backpacks are, but they have like a tube connected to them. Anyways, so it's like a backpack full of Nutella and you're just constantly like sucking on it versus just having a piece of chocolate cake after, eating a dinner at the end of the day. And that's kind of what I think the problem is. It's like not that any of these things are inherently bad on their own. It's just that it's like the constant overexposure to it. It's like, because it dictates our behavior 100%. It's why people just, get distracted by text messages when they're like in a situation that's not fully compelling to them or something like that. Or even if they are, it's just like, always like, oh, somebody texted me. I need to know what they sent me. I need to know what they sent me. So it just pulls you out of the moment. It's also just dictates our behavior in day-to-day stuff. People are like taking photos of stuff because they have to put it on social media, put it on their phone immediately. Anyways, none of this shit is original observations. I think I'm just like kind of putting two and two together. I mean, there's other shit to that too. It's just a gateway into like just a lot of other negative shit that I don't really partake in anymore, to be fair. Like another one would be like constant news notifications, like when you wake up and you have like a phone that just tells you news and, it's almost always bad news, obviously. I've disabled that, so I don't have to deal with that. Or another one would be like, how do people go on dating apps? Through the phone predominantly. I don't think online dating's ever been great, but I think it just got worse when the phone got involved because, again, it's kind of like texting. It's like you always have it on hand. You can always, when you're bored, just swipe through shit. It just really trivializes the whole thing because at least when you're like on a computer, maybe it was a little bit more deliberate. I don't know. I still think online dating in general is shit. That also, again, doesn't apply to me because I deleted all my dating apps, so whatever. There's other stuff too. Well, yeah, okay. Entertainment, it's fine to have like Snake on your phone, but then there's like, that's not the biggest problem, but like still, it's like, you can just always find something to distract yourself with on your phone. You can just find some games that are a lot more elaborate than Snake and just always keep yourself preoccupied. Or And this has been the problem with my trip right now. Having access to like Netflix and stuff like that, or YouTube, and I can just go on there and just distract myself, keep myself from being bored. Like I've been very much a mixed bag. Like I've been allowing myself to be bored, but I always keep kind of copping out because I'm like, oh, I'm too bored now. I need to entertain myself. It's part of the fact that like that's why I don't like read when I go to bed anymore because I can just go on YouTube. I can go watch something on Netflix. So that's probably my biggest problem right now, honestly, in a lot of ways. So it's just like, what really big benefit has come from having a phone? One could say like, okay, Google Maps is nice because it helps with directions. Like it makes directions more easy, or easier. Sorry, more easy. But then at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's like, well, people got by just fine for the vast majority of human history without having a fucking, Google Maps to help them out. So, I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, if you're like really in a pinch and you need directions, that's a nice innovation. But like, at the same time, it's also making us more lazy with directions. Like, I was kind of likening it to how, like, it's kind of like the difference between, even though I never played this game, but the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind versus Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I did play Oblivion. I love Oblivion, but one thing people have criticized it for is the fact that they added like little quest markers and shit. So it's like, because apparently in 3, from what I've heard, in Morrowind, you didn't have that. You were kind of just like, some NPC would be like, hey, you got to go here, go up the road, make a left, make a right, make another left, go past the fucking giant fungus tree, um, you know, make a right a few meters down from there, through the goblin camp, and then like the location is just up ahead, past the inn with the upside down decapitated head with snakes shooting out the top of it. I don't know. So like, yeah, but you'd have to like listen and be like, oh shit, okay, gotta keep this in mind and know where I'm going. It gives you a stronger sense of direction versus just like, oh, little icon on your map, you just blindly follow it to your destination. That's kind of what like Google Maps is. It's basically like having a real life version of like an RPG quest marker where you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna blindly follow directions over here instead of like, kind of. It makes things more lazy for your brain, and I feel like it sort of just takes you out just a little bit. Just a little bit takes you out of like kind of really exploring. Um, I don't know. I think that's the thing. It's not like any of these one things are bad. It's just like the accumulation of all these things is what kind of is like, I don't know. It's just like somebody once said that, like, I forgot who it was. They kind of said that we're almost basically cyborgs because of our phone. Where like even though our phone is not like literally attached to us, the fact that we're expected to have it basically all the time almost makes it like it might as well be a cybernetic augmentation on us. And I kind of agree with that. And I'm over it. I'm tired of having this fucking cybernetic augmentation. I just feel like it's starting to become just too. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I feel like it's starting to detract from my humanity a little bit. I'm surprised I'm even saying this. I think like past me would like cringe at this statement of myself, but fuck it. I don't know. It's weird. I'm really getting more and more into this sense of just like my gut is telling me that like less really is more, and I think that that's kind of the opposite of what mainstream society is trying to tell us. I think mainstream society is constantly telling us that like just more is always better. But again, not an original observation. I think that's a no-brainer. But maybe the way I'm being a little original here is just saying that like do the opposite, do the opposite, do the opposite. I'm not being original. Other people have said that too. But I think maybe what it is this actually ties in everything. I think, and I'm still on this path. I'm still fucking far from figuring any shit out substantially. But I think that might be the solution to just like a lot of things. People are just like lamenting things in life that they haven't figured out. I sure as fuck still am. And they keep thinking that like the answer is to go out and fix it. Go out and find something to fix it. Go out and find this, go out and find that. Acquire something, and that's how you're going to fix your problem. When, maybe the answer is just like just the opposite. Like, just give up. not give up in like a doom kind of way, but just be like, you know? Like, for instance, you know, if you're somebody out there who's lamenting the fact that you don't have any like romantic companionship in your life, um, just give up. Just be like, yeah, fuck it. All right, don't keep trying harder. Don't go and be like, I need to go on more dates. I need to go on more dates. I need to fucking improve my personality in some way to make myself more appealing to others. Like, just be like, nah, I'm done, finished, whatever. Let that be a vacancy in my existence. Or if you're like, you know, lacking friends in your life, fucking just, yeah, lack friends. It's fine. You know, if you don't feel like you're productive enough, fine, just don't be productive. Like, just fuck it. I don't know. It's just like, just don't. Like, I don't know. It's this. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that this needs to be like a state of being where you're in for like forever, for the rest of your life. But I think it's more important to just allow yourself to be that way for like a while, at least. And just stop like pushing things. Because it's like, we're in a very pushy society. You know, existence is very, very just fucking pushy. Pushy and just always going, always this, always that. And just like, it'd be just nice to just take a fucking breather and just be like, fuck it. Just fuck it. Whatever. Why bother? Accept it, you know? Society wants to brand that shit as like defeat or a negative attitude or like being a loser, I guess. I don't know. But fuck them. Yeah, so what? Just do it. It's fine. You know? It's the way you look at things. Like, for instance, and I'm just gonna be what's the term? I'm gonna be true to my channel name. My holy fuckingly bald head. Jesus Christ, man. I know I said this like in my video a while back, but like, it is amazing to me how much my hairline's receded in just like the last year alone. It's not surprising. I had such a stressful fucking previous year. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk about my fucking receding hairline again. I've talked about that enough. But I am gonna talk about it, but in a different way. But here you go. Here's a classic example of how it's all just a matter of perspective. See, mainstream society might want to tell you that being a man like me, with my balding fucking head, oh, that's a bad thing. You got less hair, my friend. You got less hair. That's sad. Your hairline is receding backwards. That is a universal travesty. It's always good to have more hair, more hairline, you know? But I say no. I say no. See, receding hairline is actually a blessing. It's actually a blessing because it means you get to save on your barber bill. Think about it that way. It's true. And also, I mean, just appearance-wise, like, you just get to see more of my gloriously intelligent scalp. You know, you get a better sense of just the sheer fucking girth of my fucking cranium with my receding hairline. See, if I had all this fucking hair covering it down to here, you wouldn't have quite the same sense of my sheer intelligence, you know? I really should shave my hair off, though. It does look better when it's, like, properly shaved. I don't know, this, like, middle ground where it's, like, starting to come back in just does not look good. I think I'm just gonna stick with looking like a fucking skinhead. It looks better. But, yeah, no, dude, Charles Xavier, man. I'm pulling a Charles Xavier, being bald. That's where it's at. Looking like a bald king. That's the way you gotta look at things, you know? Less hair means you exude more intelligence. Oh, wait, no, that's the other thing. They actually say that less hair means generally you have more testosterone. I don't give a fuck about that, but I don't really take much pride in my masculinity. Who gives a shit? Like, you could even control how much testosterone. I guess you kind of can, but whatever. Anyways, that was a total segue. But I'm just saying it's all a matter of perspective, you know? Not just that, but also it's like, you know, My hairline is so jagged. It's like, you know, it's kind of a sharp hairline. It juts forward menacingly instead of this soft, like, soft beta hairline. Just, oh. Just fucking boyish men with their solid hairline. Whatever. You might say that's cope. I just think it's a healthy perspective. So what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, how I mean, in all seriousness, in all seriousness, though, I do think when it comes to other stuff in life, I think that the true way to get out of this, maybe not even get out of this rut, but just get out of this rut, but to like cope with this rut that, you know, pretty much all of us are in to some degree, is really just doing less. You know, I think it is just doing less. I think it's yeah, okay, I was thinking about that too today, how like it's funny how the way things are, it's kind of like, I feel like mainstream societal attitudes want to like give people the illusion that they have like an infinite amount of time, almost not quite infinite, but like almost infinite, or at least a lot more than they really do. And it's almost like your optimal existence is optimally cramming the few hours of your day that you have. So it's like, basically it's this misconception that, you know, if you have a day where you have a lot of activities, or if you have like a social life with a lot of friends, that's automatically always better. But there's not really much of a consideration as to like the fact that you still have the same 24 hours in a day as any other person does, which means that it's almost like if you were to take the day as like a pizza, you're slicing those slices of your day more and more thinner with each fucking little shit that you add into it. You know, you're not technically having a more fulfilling day, you're just having a more segmented day. It's kind of like how, I think especially the pizza analogy works really well for friend groups. Like, it's oftentimes considered that having more friends is better. It just almost always is. But like, just to put it this way, if you have 24 friends and 24 hours to hang out with those friends in a given day, how much time can you actually divide to devote to those friends, you know? You know, like, okay, that's kind of a silly comparison because who the fuck sees all their friends every single day for all hours of the day? But you get my point, I assume. Versus if you have like 4 friends, you know, that's the thing. It's almost like you're gonna undeniably have a less deep and less time spent friendship with 24 people than you are with 4 people. Like, it's not that like one is better than the other. It's just literally trading quantity out for quality. I actually do think one is better than the other. I think that 4 friends is better than 24 friends. I've known people that have just massive amounts of friend groups, and they're not really friends with those people. They're kind of just like backdrops. And a lot of times I've even heard those people say that they're lonely, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I feel bad for them, but it's like, are you really surprised you're lonely when you just surround yourself with like an overabundance of people that you literally cannot form a deep, meaningful connection with because there's just not enough hours in a day to form a deep, meaningful connection with like dozens and dozens of people? It's like, yeah, of course you're fucking lonely. You should be going for quality over quantity. But that's just like the way the system is pushing people to think, is that they just constantly need to be getting new social groups, new social connections. They need to have lots and lots and lots of associates and friends, but you know, nothing really too deep or meaningful. It's just quantity. You know, that just goes into so much shit, man. But I don't know. I'm fucking tired, man. Am I gonna have anything else to say about that? Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Just might want to get a Nokia. I really think I do want to get a Nokia phone. Just fuck the iPhone. Less is more in this case. You know, have it as a means of disciplining my fucking baby brain. Well, that's because the thing at the end of the day, it's kind of, willpower only has so many limits. I think I realized that one of the most effective ways to deal with my brain is to basically treat it as like a child, because it fundamentally is. And it also, like any child, if you're, with most parental situations, it is most parental situations, the child will almost always win in the end. So that's the thing. It's like a child with, well, it's actually, I guess maybe not actually. The parent can obviously dictate. It's actually worse than having a child. It's like a child who's like, got puppet strings on your head and is constantly yanking you in various directions. So, because at least if you're like a parent, you do technically have, generally speaking, more authority over your child. But the brain is like, so that's the thing. If you just deprive the brain from the source that it will try to machinate you towards, then there's only so much you can do. It's just like, well, shit, I literally cannot distract myself now. It's kind of like, I was thinking it's almost like boredom is kind of like mental starvation, which is why it sucks, which is why it is basically painful. That being said, the way that like the iPhone works or any other smartphone is, it's almost like you pay a down fee to get sort of like McDonald's inside your home or with you at all times. Like you just have somehow like a magical McDonald's food fabricator. That's basically what having like an iPhone is. If you compared your phone to if you compared your brain to like a stomach. So anytime you're hungry, you can just get free McDonald's and just instantly just warp it in. But it's McDonald's, but it's there for free. You don't have to cook it. You get it immediately, and you can get it anytime you want. And the brain is just like always going to go for that because it's it's easier. It makes sense. But then if you like take that away, the brain will be like, oh fuck, I'm so hungry. Shit, I'm hungry. I need something. And eventually the brain's going to relent and be like, or the brain's stomach in this case, is going to be like, fuck, well, I've got ingredients in the kitchen. It's going to take me half an hour. It's going to take some effort, but I can go and make myself a meal and eat that instead. And yeah, the labor is going to be more difficult. It's going to be more time consuming. But at the end of the day, you're both going to eat something healthier than fucking McDonald's. And secondly, you're going to have that satisfaction of being like, well, look at this. I actually prepared a meal instead of just fucking warp something in. And I think that that's kind of what it is. The iPhone is just that. And not having access to it and being bored and being like, oh my God, I'm in this fucking boring shit mental starvation, kind of pushes the brain to search around for whatever reality equivalent of making a proper meal is. That's kind of what my theory is. I'm thinking that, restrictions in this case could be the true means of liberation. As corny as that sounds. Anyways, so I don't know. Think about that. It'll be tricky, obviously, because this is a very smartphone-oriented society, and it's just getting more so, which is really creepy to me. Just like the fact that like everywhere kind of expects you to have a fucking smartphone now, like even for just like tickets and stuff. It's just like, Jesus Christ. It honestly, okay, I'm just gonna say that it is kind of like people are always like freaking out about like microchipping and stuff. This smartphone almost is. I mean, I guess that goes to the cybernetic augmentation thing. It basically is like the microchip at this point. It's just external and it's technically separate from us, and you technically don't need to have one. But like the way society is structured nowadays, you almost do. So, and it can track you as well. So yeah, the smartphone is basically the microchip. We've been microchipped. It's just the fucking smartphone at this point. People pay all sorts of shit on it. They, like I said, they get tickets and stuff for shit like that. They use it for this, that, and the next thing. Everything's got an app for everything now. It's like, dude, that's it. That's it. We've been microchipped. It's just your fucking smartphone. There you go. Done. It's that, and it's almost more devious than the microchip. It's the microchip, and it's like all the other shit I went on about just how it's your fucking McDonald's fucking food fabricator for your brain. Man, is it really that simple? It just comes down to, I mean, no, it's not that simple. There's plenty of other fucking problems in the world as well, but I think people rip on the modern phone for sure, but I don't think I've heard people go really just how in depth and how widespread the fucking weird, shitty implications of the modern smartphone really are. It's really fucking devious, man. It's really fucking devious. Anyway, all right, that's enough about that. I am very much tired. And with that being said, I'm gonna be a blatant fucking hypocrite right now and probably go watch some Always Sunny in Philadelphia on Netflix on my smartphone because, you know, as many people have said, and I will say as well, do not as I do, but do as I say. No, but I will do as I say at some point. You know, I'll discipline my brain child by switching to a Nokia at some point. God, I need to shave my hair. It definitely looks better shaved. Anyways, enough about that shit. Alright, fuck, I'm getting old, man. I'm getting fucking old. I feel like I've aged like fucking 5 years in the last year or less than that. I probably have from the amount of stress I went through in the last year. God damn. Anyways, that's for me to worry about, not for you. Why is my nose so itchy today? Alright. So long. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Namaste. Alright. Bye bye.